The Monstera and the Missing Woman. In 2018, a woman named Anna Walters disappeared from her apartment in Seattle, Washington. She was last seen on security footage entering her building alone, but no footage ever showed her leaving. Her friends reported her missing when she failed to show up for work. When the police conducted a welfare check, they found her apartment door locked from the inside. Everything inside was normal, except for one detail. Her large Monstera plant in the living room had been moved from its usual corner to the center of the room. Her phone, purse, and car keys were all still in the apartment. The windows were locked. There was no sign of a struggle. It was as if she had simply vanished into thin air. A few months passed with no leads. Her family refused to move anything in her apartment, hoping for clues. During that time, her Monstera plant grew at an unnatural rate. Anna had always struggled to keep plants alive, but this one thrived after her disappearance, new leaves unfurling rapidly, vines stretching out as if reaching for something. A neighbor who had been watering the plant in her absence later claimed that one evening she found a single human-like fingerprint on one of the broad leaves. She swore it hadn't been there before. More unsettlingly, a few days later, she noticed the plant had shifted slightly again, almost as if it had moved on its own. Neighbors began reporting strange noises coming from Anna's apartment at odd hours. One tenant, a woman who lived in the unit below, claimed to hear muffled footsteps at night, slow, deliberate steps, pacing back and forth. But no one was inside. Another neighbor reported hearing a faint voice coming through the vents, as if someone were whispering from inside the walls. But each time maintenance was called to investigate, they found nothing. Nearly a year after Anna's disappearance, the apartment complex underwent renovations. Contractors pulled up the old floorboards to install new insulation. That's when they found it. A small, hidden crawl space beneath Anna's unit, previously unnoticed. Inside, there was one item, a scrap of fabric wedged between the wooden beams. When police tested it for DNA, the results were terrifying. The fabric belonged to Anna Walters. The location of the crawl space suggested something even more disturbing. Anna had somehow ended up beneath her own apartment, a space that had no known access point, but there was no body. No further evidence, and no explanation as to how she got there. The last incident. Shortly after the discovery, the apartment was put up for rent again. A new tenant moved in, a man who knew nothing about the case. Within a week, he returned the keys. He refused to stay another night. His only explanation? I kept waking up to the sound of breathing. When asked where the sound was coming from, he hesitated before responding. It was underneath me. The Monstera plant was eventually given to a friend of Anna's family. It continued growing, and its vines, which had once only stretched upward, began curling toward the floor. To this day, Anna Walters has never been found. What do you think happened to her?